Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're from. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And hello to those of you that are on the live streaming and looking at our Authenticity in Action program on day 3 of our 3-day challenge. I am Dr. Norma Hollis. I am your host for the program, and I'm excited to have you here and excited about what we're going to do to finish up and challenge you to step into your authenticity. Authenticity is a really important part coming into life because we wouldn't be talking about authenticity if there wasn't so much inauthenticity in the world. And unfortunately, we have some of both, but that's why authenticity became into the world. And it really started showing up around the late 2000s, 2007, 2008. My book came out and a number of other books came out about authenticity, and it's been growing ever since then. Then we went into authentic leadership. That was the language. And now we're talking about authentic workplace authenticity. And we talk about both here at the Norma Hollis Group. We talked about your personal authenticity on Wednesday, our day 1 of our challenge. We talked about workplace authenticity yesterday on day 2 of our challenge. And today we are focusing on authenticity and how it integrates in your personal and professional, how you integrate it and how you live your life completely from an authenticity perspective. That is the goal, because when you become more authentic, life just flows in a brand new way. You understand yourself better, you understand your purpose more, and you actually get aligned with it and you do more. Your life becomes more fulfilling and more meaningful. And that's what we're here to talk with you today about. So welcome, welcome, welcome to all of you. Those of you who are here with me on the call, I welcome you. And any of you that are on live streaming that would like to join us, if you just go to authenticvoicechallenge.com, you will be given the link and you can join us here live on our call rather than just listening to it. That is, if you're listening now at 9 o'clock hour Pacific time. If you're listening to the repeat, then sorry, we're already over, but you still can get the content just by continuing to listen. So again, welcome. Are there any questions from those of you who are here from yesterday or Wednesday? Any of the last 2 days? Any comments, any questions, anything you'd like to share, or thoughts that have come up at that between now and then? Anybody want to share anything? Rico.
Yes, we had a homework assignment.
Yes, you did.
And I'm looking forward to sharing that with everybody that's on the call.
Well, speak up. Let's hear it.
Well, what I came up with for the homework assignment, and the homework assignment is, what would you tweak, if I remember?
Yes.
Okay, so tweaking to me is sort of like a reflection of how to stay aligned with what I need to do. And so the biggest thing for me is reflection. I have to tweak my reflection so I can reconstruct and realign myself as often as needed. And when I do that, I pay attention to my gifts. Am I using them appropriately, like it's going to benefit me? So I question myself, and then that kicks in my inner voice. My inner voice makes me go to the mirror and look at the guy to make sure he's authentic. You know. So anyway, that's pretty much what I tweak is my reflection on my gifts.
Yeah. Well, that's very good. So what is it you're going to, is there any action you're going to take differently, or is it just in your thinking, or is there an action you're going to take?
Yes. Okay. I'm always on a mission.
Yes. We come to know about you.
Yes. Personally or in business. Okay.
Right.
And my mission is real simple. I want to learn, grow, turn around and reach back to help others, elevate, and always make sure I'm north of zero.
Yes.
And in the process, I want to touch others. We come in contact, we engage, and all of us are better off after we got together than we were before.
Right. Well, that's good. I applaud you for that, and applaud you for your continuous. We've known you for a while. You've been one of our followers, one of our main followers for quite some time. So you continue. I will continue to watch you grow and step more into your authenticity and the alignment that we have is really phenomenal. So congratulations on that. I'm looking forward to continuing to watch you grow. It's a wonderful thing. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Who else would like to share some homework feedback? Jean, I see a big smile on your face. What are you thinking?
What am I thinking? So I think for me, it's kind of reassessing my circle, kind of expanding it and changing it. I think as I get into a different season of life, the circle has different requirements.
Yes.
And I think I was very accustomed to my existing circle and probably a little too comfortable. And to be able to get uncomfortable with the fact that I have a new circle or I'm getting a new circle and what I bring to that circle and what that circle brings to me.
Well, thank you for saying that, because as you step more into authenticity, you will find yourself, you will find some friends either automatically opting out of the relationship, or you will choose to move beyond some friends. Because as you grow, you know, your friends don't always grow with you. And in order for you to honor your own authenticity, you have to honor your own growth. So congratulations on doing that. It's not always easy, because sometimes they're long-term friends, but you have to do what you have to do. Absolutely. Congratulations for that. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share what they decided to tweak?
Well, let me see if I can kick in here.
All right, Minister Norma.
I seem to be caught in this dynamic of where, one, I'm retired, so when I'm reflecting on authenticity in the workplace, looking backwards to see what I had already done, or how my authenticity played out in that role, and then as a retiree in a new, trying to start up a new business, I want to use what I've learned and tweak what didn't work, and going forward as I implement those things in the new direction and I'm going. One of the things that I noted I must tweak is my whole thought processes, how I view things and what conclusions I come to as I go through that process. So being more intentional in my thinking is goal oriented. I'm seeking to move in a more intentional manner as the things that I have planned to do, rather than just thinking about them. I'm actually intentional in implementing them now.
Congratulations. So I'm happy to hear that, and I wish you the best. You know, you made me think about the word leverage, because as we grow older and have more experiences, it's important that we leverage our old experiences. So, you know, we talk about authenticity, about our journey through life there's being threads and themes in your journey through life. And those threads and themes have people that you might have met or experiences that you had along the way that you can leverage now for your future. I find myself leveraging a lot of the relationships that I made when I had my speaker bureau, because a lot of people that I didn't realize the impact I was making at the time, and how people are remembering me, and people are showing up who can assist me and who are aligned with the work I'm doing now. So the leveraging is a big part of your tweaking. So wherever you can, when you think about your past, never, they say don't burn bridges, right? Because you never know when your past might come to your current and to your future. So congratulations on that. And for all of you, think about where you've come from and how you can leverage some of that for where you are now and where you see yourself going. Anybody else like to give feedback from the
I would.
Go ahead, Kenya.
Good afternoon. Well, good morning, you guys. So I would like to tweak really my action steps. I tend to take action, but I need to put in more massive action. I'm dual career. I work in the social services industry full-time, but I'm building my business part-time. And so I get to, you know, I start comparing, you know, if only I can do more because I feel like sometimes my job is holding me back a little bit, and I'm not really getting out there in the forefront because of my job. And so I need to change that mindset and understand, I guess, that yes, I have that career, but in order for me to move my business, I do need to take more massive action. So.
Well, congratulations on that and making the massive action. You know, Tuesday, there's an organization called the Black Business Expo, Black Business Network, and they have speakers for 7 days, once a month. And I am on that frequently, and I interviewed our marketing person on Tuesday. The name you're looking at, Nia Lewis, that many of you get caught with, you know, when you've been coming in. But anyway, in the conversation that we had on Tuesday, we talked about taking action. And I shared how when I had my bureau and did not understand much about marketing, I took a lot of action, but I was doing a lot of tactics. I was doing a lot of things that were not aligned with a strategy, and how important it is to make sure you have a strategy as you start taking massive action, so that you're not just spending money and going through activities, but there's a plan, a beginning, the middle, and the end that will lead you to where you're going, and to leverage, as I mentioned earlier, the past experiences for that. So congratulations on that, and best of luck.
Thank
and
you.
hope that we'll be able to assist you with that in some ways.
Yeah.
Anyone else like to have and make any comments? Then we're going to move on. I'm going to make a few comments about leadership skills and about authenticity in the workplace, just to kind of close out the conversation we had yesterday. But when you authenticity in the workplace starts with the leader. You want a leader that understands authenticity and who looks at authenticity themselves. One of the challenges that companies have in bringing in workplace authenticity is that the leaders don't understand that it starts with them. Every company is a shadow of the leader, is a shadow of what the leader is bringing to the table. So you want, if you're moving towards your authenticity, then you're going to probably be most comfortable in an organization that's also moving towards authenticity. You're not going to be comfortable probably in one that's still functioning from a hierarchical perspective. And if you're in an organization that's like that, then maybe you can be the champion to help the organization look at how the world is evolving, how humanity is changing, even the children are coming in different. So therefore, the needs of the workplace needs to evolve right along with the way humanity's evolved. So by elevating your leadership skills, you cultivate and create an environment that makes it possible. And again, if it's not happening in your environment, then maybe you need to be the leader to bring that to their attention and make them aware of that. And it has a lot to do with more of a nurturing perspective to leadership and to business versus the hierarchical perspective, which is just about money, 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 versus putting people over profits. A lot of businesses put profits first, and without a doubt, profits are important, the stakeholders and all that. But there wouldn't be such an influx of people leaving corporate America and leaving full-time jobs if they were satisfied. So there's a reason behind people leaving, and they're not, their gifts and talents, their essence, their who they are, their authenticity is not being nurtured in some cases. So finding ways to nurture that will be the cement and the glue that will enable employees to stay a lot longer and be very content in the environment there. And then it's also important to embrace different perspectives. Our programs for authenticity are all about giving you new ways of looking at life, new ways of looking at yourself, new ways of looking at how you spend your life day to day, new ways of looking at how you're doing, how you're working, how you're earning your income. Education is about new perspectives. Anytime you get educated, it's because you learned a new way to look at something. So that's what we're doing, giving you new perspectives, educating you on authenticity, and mostly educating you on you. Because there's nowhere in our society that you're taught who you are. Sure, you're taught how to read and how to write and how to memorize things and how to make some decisions, but the dissection of who you are, how your energy works, how your moods work, how it all comes together, how you integrate your thinking with your communicating, with your actions, all of that is not shared. And that's one of the reasons we have so much conflict in the world now. People have been taught to go to guns to resolve conflict rather than going within to resolve conflict. So this is the transition, the transformation that we're seeking to create through our authenticity programs for people to understand more about themselves so that they can make better decisions about themselves and they can be calmer and look at new ways to resolve conflict and actually reduce the amount of conflict that's out there. So all of that is what we are moving toward and more, and what I'm hoping to infuse into you so that you understand the role that you can play within that. So today we're going to be talking about integrating personal and professional. And we're going to be doing it around the conversation of communication with yourself, particularly from the standpoint of how you feel, because authenticity is a lot identified by how you feel. So my question that I'd like you to answer in the chat box, take a moment and put in the chat box, how do you know when you're authentic? What does authenticity feel like to you? Please put that in the chat box. What does authenticity feel like to you? How do you know when you're authentic? What does it feel like? So please put some comments in the chat box so I can share some and we can talk about a few. You know, when I did a survey, I think I mentioned before that I did a survey about 3 years ago, and I interviewed about 100 people, and I wanted to know what is your greatest frustration, what's your greatest challenge, and what's your greatest fear about authenticity. And I talked about this yesterday because the number one thing that came about was that people were uncomfortable and scared to say what's truly on their mind. They're scared to speak up. And speaking up is so important. We talked about that yesterday. The second thing that they said is they wanted to know, what does authenticity feel like? What does it feel like? Which I thought was a very interesting question, because I had spent a long time since I have questioned and felt inauthentic. But when I went back in my life, I realized that when I was less authentic, I was more anxious. I had anxiety on a regular basis, and I did not know how to get around that. Now I have to remember when I was anxious, because I don't have that in the same way any longer, because I am more clear of who I am and my purpose, and I'm very content with my purpose and moving forward with it. So some of the answers I see in the chat box of how does authenticity feel with you and how do you know when you're authentic is one person said, Kenya said that's what she wants to learn. What does it feel like and what she has to do? I get that. I get that. Linda says she feels confident in her decisions and in her actions. And I can understand that, because when you have more clarity, authenticity gives you more clarity. It gives you clarity about your purpose, your ability to fulfill your purpose, your options, whether you want to do your purpose or not, what you want to do, what you need to do next. You get confirmations also. You get more comfortable of your path through life. And that does make you more confident in your decision and your actions. Another person said, speaking the truth in love. Speaking the truth in love. Authenticity is when you're more authentic, you're able to accept people's feedback from you. You can accept the truth. The truth is something that's becoming more and more questionable as we go through life. Given the fact that books are being burned, given the fact that people have different perspectives, given the fact that we don't really know how to communicate from time to time, we're also confused about what's really true, because we get different perspectives on the same situation. It happens over and over again. So where is the truth? It usually lies somewhere in the middle of the information that you're getting, but we don't always have time to research that. So speaking the truth means a lot of speaking your own truth, knowing your truth, and you can't speak it unless you know it. Rico says, when I engage with others in a caring, positive, and objective manner, that's when you're feeling authentic, and that's what authenticity feels like to you. And I'm glad you used the word engage, because again, engagement is what's missing a lot in jobs and full-time jobs now in organizations. And engagement is one of the words we use a lot, because the work that we do helps people to become more engaged. Engage is nothing more than great communication that you share with other people. That's when you're engaged, communicating with others and doing it, as Rico says, in a caring, positive, and objective manner. And one more I'll read from Minister Norm when he says, when I'm comfortable with speaking what I think. So, which is like speaking your truth. So the comments are very similar in terms of the way you see authenticity and the way you are appreciating it. So today we're going to talk about allowing your personal and professional authenticity, how you stay connected to your authentic self, and different ways that you use your authentic voice. When we talk about authenticity, I talk about it from 3 ways: your authentic self, becoming your authentic self, using your authentic voice, and living your authentic life. And all 3 of those are important. One may be more important than another. For example, if you're a speaker, knowing your authentic voice is important because your platform and your message comes from your voice. And you want to be so comfortable with it that when you go on stage, even if you lose your place, you can go forward. I think I mentioned to you yesterday that when I had a speaking engagement, no, I didn't tell you yesterday because it hadn't happened yet. So I had a speaking engagement yesterday, and it was supposed to be a fireside chat with one of my students, but the student could not find the link. She was on a different link. And I kept saying, well, where is she? So when I came on and I was by myself and I didn't have my person there to interview, it's like, okay, how am I going to shift? I had to shift on the moment to be able to speak my authenticity and be of value to the people who were listening, and still address the topic that I was going to address by having someone else talk about it. The topic was empowerment for women, which of course I can talk about very easily. But it's that shifting, it's being so clear in yourself that even when you get hiccups like that, they don't bother you. Now, I was teetered for a moment, and Linda remembers we were in Florida back in November, and a similar thing happened. I was on stage, and my slides were not working, and I was speaking to my slides. So I had to pivot on the dot right there and perform anyway. And that happens a lot in life. And that happens for you easily when you authentically know your truth, know your purpose, know why you're here, and know your materials. And that's what I'm hopefully helping you to accomplish and to do. So I want to talk about the feeling, feeling authentic, living with authenticity, doing the things that make you happy. As I mentioned, when I had my speaker bureau, people came to me saying, I've been working for 20, 30 years at this company, and I lost myself. I don't feel authentic anymore. I've lost what it even means to be me. I don't want you to lose yourself. I want you to expand yourself and enhance yourself so that you're giving to society the very best that you can. Doing the things that make you happy, that feed your spirit, the spirit that lives within you, that is you, that's speaking to you all the time. How are you feeding it? So let's examine how you feel your authenticity. Authenticity is felt through your senses. We have 6 senses that you use every day. You have the sense of smell. You're in the kitchen, you're cooking, you're smelling. That's one sense. You have the sense of touch, the tactile sense, touching things. Some people love to touch different textures. Textures are smooth, textures are rough, textures are wet, textures are dry. You have the sense of sight. You can see, you can look on the Zoom screen right now, and you can see, and you can look around your room. You can see, that is one of your senses. That's one of the ways that you feel, one of the ways that you receive information. You can hear, you hear my voice, you've heard the voice of others, you heard the music, you hear things around you, you taste. Those are the 5 senses. The 6th sense is your 6th sense, which is not as well respected as the other 5. Now, if you look at the way society works, my guess is that the 6th sense is not as represented simply because there's no uniformity in it. There is uniformity when you look, if you look behind me at my authenticity grid, we all see the same thing. We might interpret the colors differently. We might read the words differently. We might interpret what the words mean differently, but we're seeing there's uniformity in what we see. As you're listening to my voice, there's uniformity in what you hear. I'm not doing gibberish as I did on Monday, which would be different, on Wednesday, which is a different way of interpreting. I'm speaking words from the English language that have a common meaning. So as I say them, there is an understanding of what I'm saying. When you smell things, we were out the other day and we smelled fried chicken. We recognize the smell of fried chicken. It's a universal smell. It's a universal thing. When we touch, we have a universal definition of how things feel when you touch it. The difference of smooth and rough. I was working in my garden yesterday and we all have a cactus there. So there's a feeling of the cactus getting on you or a rose bush getting on you. That's a uniform feeling. There's a uniform feeling in taste. You know, we know what ice cream tastes like, and most of us love ice cream. There's a uniform feeling, but there's nothing uniform in how our sixth sense speaks to us. It speaks to each person differently, which is why it's probably not as well respected, because it can therefore not be controlled. Only we control that. And it's so important that you are connected to your sixth sense so that you are hearing what your inner voice is speaking to you. It comes to you through a sixth sense. It might come to you differently. When you are interpreting your voice, it may come to you, your sixth sense, as a thought, as a feeling, even as a smelling sometimes. And I think I might have mentioned to you the three things that you ask yourself every day. What time is it? What am I going to wear? What am I going to eat? So your sixth sense sometimes answers that. Sometimes you wake up in the morning and you know intuitively with no alarm clock exactly what time it is. Your sixth sense guides you to that. Your sixth sense can tell you, don't go that way, don't do that. You may not understand it, but it's still telling you that. These are the ways that authenticity speaks to you. These are the ways that you get guided from day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year about how to live your life. You learn these senses in your preschool years, and then you continue to develop them and to hone them and to make them closer. So I want you to think about how you feel and how you use your senses at work and at home. We're going to do an exercise right now related to your workplace, because I want you to assess if the work that you do is aligned with your sixth sense and aligned with who you are, aligned with your senses and how you are approaching your life. So if you would just please sit comfortably and close your eyes. And just sit comfortably while I ask you a question. So I want you to consider that right now you're at your workplace. What do you feel when you experience the things I'm about to mention to you? And those of you that are on the live streaming, please do this exercise as well. So close eyes, sit quietly with your eyes closed and consider these. You wake up on Monday morning and it's time to get ready to go to work. What senses are at work in your body? How do you feel? Feel that feeling now. It's Monday morning. It's time to get up to go to work. Now you are arriving at your workplace. How do you feel? How does it make you feel? All of a sudden your boss appears. How do you feel? You're beginning on your activities for the day. How do you feel? Someone you have conflict with at work approaches you. How do you feel? You learn that your job responsibilities have changed to something that you do not feel good about. How do you feel? Now open your eyes and put a comment in the chat box about something that you felt in that exercise. What was the experience? What was the question you responded to? And how did it make you feel? How did it impact your mood? How did it impact your feeling? How did it impact where you were at the moment? Did it change you? Did you transition from one feeling to another? How did it impact you? How did it impact you? Please put something in the chat box so we have something to share and talk about. I'm very curious to how you were impacted. So Rico says that his sixth sense is your reaction to your five senses. You want to share more about that thought, Rico, please?
Yes. Putting together, we were trained, or I was trained in tactics and strategy, and you play the game before the game. So when I would, let's say, go to work or I engage with others, I already have the format. I've already understood what their interactions would be, and that helps me be more constructive and design the outcome of that engagement. So when you ask the question, how do you feel when you get up? How do you feel when you go to work or when you see your boss? I've already went through that in my mind before I actually left the premises. And so, I mean, I'm more in control. I don't want to find myself, let's say, excited or upset about something someone said or did. I already know the landscape, and I have to be mentally and physically balanced 24/7. And one of the things that I talked to you, Norma, about is when I did my thing on advice to my 20-year-old self. If something comes up, I only allow the reaction of being, let's say, frustrated for 15 seconds. Let it be quick. Then I get into the realignment, putting the strategy together to plan out exactly how this can be turned into a positive situation. Because everything can be turned into a positive. You don't let it consume you and get to you and control you.
Well, that's pretty powerful to say that you just let something bother you for 15 seconds. That's a lot of self-control. And that speaks very much to the fact, and would be very valuable for people to adopt, given that we're not taught how to control ourselves. We really are not taught how to go within and seek personal control. So what I call self-management. We're not taught how to manage ourselves. We learn it through, or do we learn it at all? In some cases, I guess we do, because we are a supposedly civilized society, but you know, we tend to go to other means that are often violent and not collaborative to resolve things, as opposed to taking 15 seconds or even 50 seconds or a minute even. 15 seconds is good. As a fire chief, surely you had to do that. It made a lot of sense. For those of you that are on the call and that are live streaming, just even a minute to slow down and catch your breath and just get readjusted and get balanced would be very helpful in the long. So thank you very much for that, Rico. Linda says, gradually felt more alert, felt a bit of irritation when advised change in your role. You want to comment on that, Linda, please?
Well, I'm not a morning person, and especially Monday mornings. I know you're saying yes, that's right. So this particular scenario, that's where I was. It was like, oh, it's Monday morning and I have to go. But after I got into the day, I got more excited about what I have to do. And after I saw my manager, it's okay, it's on, I'm ready to go. And I was a little bit annoyed with the change, but I adjust as always and made it happen. So, but initially there was like, especially on Monday morning.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And yes, change sometimes just throw us off easily because we get used to our routines. And but change is a part of life, just like on Monday when we had the storm in California and your lights went off twice and you had to shift and you couldn't do the things you wanted to do. Those are shifts that we have. Sometimes we have no control over those shifts. The key to all of that, a lot of that, is to control what you can control. And that's yourself to the best degree that you can. Thank you for sharing. So Minister Norm, you said yours was evolving. First, acknowledge the challenge and process the engagement. Please say some more.
Yes, and we all have to process things in the field of our endeavor. I admire Rico and even Dr. Glenn because they're in frontline life-saving events and professions. Mine is in social welfare agency you're always dealing with something that is never going to get resolved. I don't at the end of the day necessarily see results in what I'm trying to do or what I'm engaged in doing. So my acknowledging the challenge on Monday morning that when I go into my office, I'm going to face this tenant who has made some bad decisions and is about to get evicted, and how can I intervene there, or interacting with other staff members as my position as vice president and development manager. I have to engage them in the hat that I'm wearing, but the big thing is that I'm prepared. I've already processed that there's going to be challenges today. I'm always going to be facing challenges. So my process is evolving as I go. I meet people where they are. I meet the situation where it is, and I apply whatever knowledge or experience or oversight or emotions, whatever it is that is needed to one, diffuse the intensity of the situation, and secondly, move it along towards some resolve that may not come today, but we're moving toward it.
Excellent. I'm glad you said that. And I'm struck with your patience and the fact that you said you don't get your gratification. You don't know the resolution of your work often, because our society has become, I think they call it a microwave society, where we want immediate gratification. I do it now, gratify me now, pay me now, let me get my rewards now, whatever. And in reality, in life, things take time to unfold. So thank you for mentioning that, because I'm sure that that's has its own set of challenges. I can relate, because in my work with authenticity, it's definitely delayed gratification, but that also speaks to your level of commitment. So, because you wouldn't be allow that to happen if you weren't committed to that process. Thank you for sharing. And let's see, Jean said reassignments initially make you uncomfortable, and after some time you become more comfortable about your ability to get it done. Would you like to speak more about that, please, Jean? You're muted.
I think initially I get very agitated, and I can sense that agitation in my body, but then I begin to get comfortable with the fact that, wait a minute, maybe this is something you've recognized before, or even if you haven't, you're going to figure it out, because you usually do. So to just kind of take a pause, I guess, and start to look at things differently, not in terms of how I can't do it, but how I can do it.
Yes, well,
And
one thing, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say that Rico's assessment, that 15-second thing, I think that was the first time I had an interaction with Rico that he mentioned the 15-second, and then I thought, that's impossible. But I'm beginning to embrace it a little more.
Good, good, good. Well, take 20 or 30 if you need to, but work yourself. Thank you for sharing. And Kenya says that she dreads the drive. I didn't talk about the drive to get to work. So you want to comment on that, please, Kenya?
Yeah. So as you were saying, getting ready for work and all of that. Well, getting up and getting ready to work is one thing, but for me, I have to drive in about an hour in this traffic to get to work. And then I have to do more driving after I get there, because I'm out in the field visiting individuals, but as far as the job in itself and like having interaction with my supervisor, that's not a problem at all. I do work with a great group of people. And so I think that's one of the reasons why I've stayed so long. I don't think I could ever leave that job to take on another job, so to speak. And that's why I'm building my business. So I wouldn't have to do that if I was to ever leave. But yeah, so that's really the main thing for me, is that drive. And then as far as changes, it's constantly changing. We're under the guidelines of the state. So I've learned to manage when it comes to change. And I think I do pretty good with change and staying in control of my emotions and things like that. So.
Well, congratulations. Change is inevitable. It's going to happen every day. There's change. You know, your best laid plans, and then something else goes wrong. So I applaud you for that. I wish it's very heartening to hear that you love your job and love the people at your job, because usually oftentimes it's the people at the job that you're not aligned with that create the challenges, that get in the way of the engagement, that get in the way of the authenticity. So to have that feeling, and I'm also think you're very, very smart to be building your own business while you're doing your full-time work. I think that's very smart, and I think you're going to be very successful with it. So best of luck to you. Thank you for sharing. And we'll do one more. Dale says, I feel the power of trust my intuition to quit your job. Now you're doing what you love. Yes, you are. You want to speak on that for a minute, Dale?
Yes. So when I try to find a job, I look at the job description, and then I went to the interview. And after the interview, I asked myself, am I seeing doing that job? And then I thought, yes, because basically I'm doing nothing for my job. I just sit there and I still got paid. So I told myself, yeah, it's like a dream job because I doing nothing and still got paid. The tough part is working outside the driving, because that work is 1 hour away from home, and then another hour away driving back home. So I need at least 2 hours a day on the road. Except that it's a good job, so I accepted it. I did it for a whole year, and then my intuition is it's first my body is telling me, because I gained 20 pounds in this 1 year, 20 pounds. My body and my energy is low. And also there's the one sign my tire is started leaking after 6 months driving back and forth. So I went to check, the tire is new and there's no leaking, but it just keeps saying tire is leaking, pressure is low. So that's is a confirmation what Norma says, when you are not in the position, it will give you signs. The first is your body, the second maybe the things around you. So I'm started watching my body gain weight, my energy is low. Now the car I have to drive to work have problem. So I know it's a sign to fire them. But before I fire them, I did what Norma's logic is: think, communicate, and do. So I did my think part, and I think there's different way to communicate to me. And so I did it. I quit my job the beginning of this year on January. And since the next day I wake up, I feel more energy. I feel much healthy, and I start losing weight, and I have better relationship with my husband. I have taken care of me and much healthy, and I'm doing what I love now. Yes. So I'm so glad I trust my intuition. Yes.
You done. No comment on that. You said it all. Congratulations. Yeah. Yes, you did. So, people, when companies go to hire people for new positions, they generally hire you on your skills. They want your resume of what your history is, what your degrees are, what you've done in the past. They don't hire you that much on who you are and whether or not your values are aligned with the company. That really is extremely important. So that means first knowing your values, and then seeing and as Dale said, she hired the company. So when you're going for a new job, you want to interview them as much as they interview you, because your happiness and your contentment and your level of engagement and your ability, your loyalty, and your potential for staying on that job. We talked about how retention is a big issue, and how people are leaving jobs, to change jobs, to find something better, to do their own thing, whatever. But you will find, and companies will find a longer term relationship with employees if they hire on values and the more psychosocial things, and not just skills. Skills alone don't work. And particularly now where we're in the information age, empowerment age, and moving beyond, where so much computer, because so much work is done on the computers and less interaction with people. You want to make sure when there is interaction that people are equipped and ready and know how to do that. So as in everything life, it's a learned experience. So as an employer, as a business owner, you want to make sure you're giving your employees, the people and your leaders, an opportunity to interact with each other, because that's an important part of leadership and a very important part of authenticity. So how does your, if I were to do the same thing with you on your personal side of how you feel, what might be the difference? What's the difference from the answers you gave me about your workplace feelings regarding authenticity and where you're at? So if I were to ask you those questions regarding personally, are you accepting who you are? Are you accepting your personal authenticity? Are you tweaking something to be more authentic? You know, nobody on the planet is perfect. We all have gaps. We need so many skills to survive well on this planet. No matter what job you have, no matter how much money you're making, you still need something you don't know how to do. How are you making that happen for you? Are you trying to do everything? You know, a lot of business coaches, and I'm a business coach also, a lot of business coaches will tell you, well, you just have to switch and do what the gap is. Well, if it's a startup, yeah. If you just start a business and there's nobody but you have to do everything. But what happens as your business grows, as it goes down the line, you need other people. You can't do it all yourself. And you cannot fill your gaps. Like I tried for 12 years to market my business. And yeah, I got some takers, I got some people coming in, but I didn't get the volume that I'm looking for because that's not what I do. That's that linear path. And I'm this way, that way, this way, that way. So you have to know yourself. You have to know and accept what you don't do well. You have to know and understand how to fill your gaps, what people, what experiences, what software, what events, what do you need to add to your repertoire of things that fills the gap that you're missing. And it took me a long time to find the right marketing people. I now have 2, but it took a lot of time because my program is pretty complex. The gist of my program is behind me. This is the first day that I've shown you the authenticity grid. And some of you who are watching have seen the grid and know about it. And those that don't, I'm going to give you a really brief overview. And there's more information on my website, normahollis.com, and my LinkedIn page, Norma Hollis, Norma T. Hollis, my Facebook pages, it's everywhere. But I'm going to give you a brief overview because I use it in all the work that we do. And it's the foundation for all the programs that I teach. And I started this grid when I was 28 and realized I had become my parents' version of a Black girl in America. They raised me the way they felt would be best. Of course, they or no one had a vision of what the world would be like when I became an adult and when I became in the workforce. But nonetheless, what I've learned now is that if we raise our children by their gifts and talents and raise the children by some of the elements in the grid, they'll be better equipped to handle the changes. The changes they're going to see are going to come much faster than the ones that we've seen because life is expanding and moving just that fast. But essentially what I found is that I have an inner voice that no one hears but me. I have an outer voice that represents how other people perceive me. And it also represents my self-care. And I have an expressive voice, which is who I become in the world. Those are the domains, the vertical, the inner, outer, expressive. And from the horizontal, you have the dynamics, think, communicate, do. And what that says is that each of us kind of have a go-to. Either we're primarily thinkers, we're planners, strategizers, evaluators, figuring things out. We're communicating, sharing our thoughts and messages, talking and telling our stories, helping others communicate with ourselves, others, and with the universe. Or we're doers and we're constantly in action. We need to make things happen. And we have to do something to make things happen. And then within each of these domains and dynamics, there's individual dimensions. We call those dimensions of ourselves. In reality, all of us are multi-dimensional individuals. We're led to believe that we only have a single dimension, but in reality, each of these dimensions are within all of you. When I finished writing this, I traveled the country to 20 cities in 18 months and taught this, and everywhere I went, people agreed. It was mainly speakers I was talking to help them become more authentic on stage. And since then, the program has grown beyond and beyond, and it's still growing. And I have a great team of about 15 people who are now helping to build this out in different continents and in different industries. And I'm looking for more people that would like to be a part of our team: coaches, speakers, trainers, facilitators, teachers, leaders, anyone that's looking for, those of you that are in transition from what you were doing to what you want to do, those of you that are speakers, for example, and you're looking for a place to have a platform, you want to expand your platform, you're good on stage maybe, but you don't have product to sell on stage, we can help you with that. Coaches who want to understand your clients more and even understand yourselves more, facilitators or trainers who want to go into corporate, anything if making a difference in the world and self-understanding, I'd love to talk to you and see where you might fit within the organization. So the grid itself has the 9 dimensions. I'm going to go through them very briefly because our time is almost over. But on the inner voice, you have your intuition, which is your 6th sense, something you're given at birth and how you use it in the world. On the communicate side of the inner voice, it's your integrity, your values. People know you by your values. We know people on TV by their values. We learn your values in multiple ways. On the do side of your inner voice is your inspiration. Your inspiration is your drive, how you move forward, how you inspire yourself to get things done, and how you inspire other people to get things done. On the outer voice, it's about who you become. It's outer voice, it's how other people perceive you. And I'm also learning from my own experiences that outer voice is also about your self-care, how you take care of yourself. On the think side, it's your net wellness, your well-being. You were given DNA at birth. How do you develop it? How do you take care of it? Network is the middle of the grid. It impacts every dimension. That's your relationships, your quality and quantity relationships. You need both. You need quality people that know you well and celebrate you. And you need quantity so that they can become quality, and you have a host of people to help you to fill your gaps. Net wealth is not about money. It's about abundance and joy and what brings you joy in life. When I had my speaker bureau, I met a lot of people with a lot of money who did not have joy. And I could mention names to you now of people who go on stage and they show joy, but they don't show it off the stage. They have masks and they're chameleons in many ways. The expressive voice is about who you become in the world and how you live your life on a day-to-day basis. Legacy has to do with your gifts and talents, has to do with your physical gifts, your body's a gift to you, your spiritual gifts, and your wisdom gifts, and that's how you see the world and how you use your gifts in alignment with your job. Likability is about your personality and your connectivity. How do you connect with other people when you meet them? Do you build rapport? And how does that work? How do you get along with people? And lifestyle is about your day-to-day habits, what you do on a day-to-day basis. And all of those relate to your authenticity, relate to how you connect with yourself, how you connect with others, and how you connect with the universe. The universe is a big piece of this because the universe is always talking to you, but you may not know how to interpret the conversation. And what we help you do and to understand is how important it is to be in communication with the universe. That's the connection with how you got here on the planet and the connection to your purpose. And the more connected you are to that kind of communication, the more likely you are to go on the path of your purpose and to have more joy. And of all of that, the goal is to have it all aligned. So you're all parts of yourself are going in the same direction, kind of holding hands and skipping through life. That's kind of Pollyanna, but it's possible. Maybe you're not skipping, maybe you're just walking or running or walking fast but you have your path, you know where you're going. That's what we want you to accomplish and to achieve when we talk about authenticity. We want you to achieve it in your personal life and in your professional life. And we want your personal and professional life to be aligned. And your spiritual life as well. If you have all of those aligned in the same direction, your life is far more valuable. You are much happier. You are more content. You're not worrying about who's doing the best or who's doing the best or who's talking about you or who's not talking about you or any of that stuff. You're concerned more with what you bring and the value you bring to the world and how you can get it out to the world more effectively. In the process, you gain more courage. You gain more confidence to be yourself, courage to live yourself and live your life in a way that it was designed to be lived. You believe in yourself, you trust yourself, you have more fortitude, you're happier, the people around you are happier. And my belief is that when you become more authentic and get aligned, the people around you get more authentic and get aligned. Then the people around them get more authentic and be aligned. So if you've ever wondered what's the one thing you can do to help society be better, you can become authentic. When I traveled the world, and well, I've been around many places in the world, but when I traveled the United States, when I first was testing my process, I asked the question a lot, who's happy with the world the way it is now? I never got anyone that said they're happy. Everyone wants to see some kind of transformation, some kind of change. And a lot of people want to be a part of that change. Well, the people that I attract are many of those that would like to be part of that change. And I want to invite you that are on the call and those on the stream. And if any of this appeals to you, please, let's talk. Set up a call with me at meetwithnorma.com and let's have a conversation. Let's see where you're at. We have multiple programs that can assist you. We have programs from our membership program, which is as low as $37 a month, which is our entry-level program, which will help you to do-it-yourself program that will take you step by step, week by week, to look at yourself. A lot of the process is just having the right questions to think about. We have the right questions to ask you and for you to think about. But maybe you want to be in a group. We have a group program. Our signature program is our Reclaim Your Authentic Life program. It's an 11-week program where you meet on a small group, no more than 12 people. It's led by 2 facilitators who've been trained in authenticity. And they take you through each one of those dimensions. And as you talk about each dimension, you learn more about yourself. And I used to teach this class. Now I have my trainers that teach this class. And I can tell you, I've watched people through the class. And at the end of the class, they ended it with a whole different energy. Just the self-awareness that they gain is remarkable for what it can do for them and what it does for them. And then we have our facilitator training programs. We have a program to train and certify coaches, to train and certify speakers, to train and certify facilitators. The facilitators take our program to corporate America. And for corporate America, we have a number of programs. We have keynote speakers to come in and teach you authenticity and give you our authenticity assessment. We have programs to come in to give you assessments for your senior teams, as well as for your entire body. And we have reinforcement programs of master classes, lunch and learn programs, and even executive coaching programs. So wherever you are on the continuum of authenticity, wherever you are in your own development, wherever you are in your desire to be more authentic. I've been studying this for 44 years. Actually, it's 46 years, I realized yesterday. And we have a solid program that's been tried and true and tested. And we have people in the United States, in Canada, and now in South Africa, and Suriname, and Central America, who can help you with this program. So wherever you are in the world, we have people who can work with you and help you with this. So I want to encourage you to go to meetwithnorma.com. Linda's put the links in the chat box for those of you who are here. And let me end with giving you who our winners are for our prizes. We have 2 prizes for you. One is for the person who was most engaged yesterday. And it was really hard to figure it out because those of you who were here did not want to post on the website. I don't know what your aversion is to posting, but you did post some on the chat box and what have you. And the prize for this winner is 6 months of our membership program, which is $37 a month, or you can apply that $222 to one of our other programs. And that gift goes to Jean. That is your gift. And to receive it, what you need to do is set up a call with me at meetwithnorma.com. And I'll be happy to talk with you about what your desires are and how we can go forward. And the grand prize for all 3 days goes to Minister Norman. That is your gift from your job. And that's a $444 value, which you can use for 1 year of membership into our membership program, or you can apply it towards one of our other programs. To redeem it, you want to reach out to me at meetwithnorma.com. And for the rest of you who have been on the call, I have a gift for you also. Because you have spent 3 days with me and you have been engaged and you have been involved, I award you with a $100 gift certificate that you can redeem by going to meetwithnorma.com and let's talk. Let's see where your interest lies and where we want to apply those funds, either into our membership program, one of our other programs, and we can talk about that and move forward. So are there any last questions anyone would like to ask or comments you'd like to make?
I would just also like to remind everybody to download the chat, because I've put lots of information in the comments from everyone. I've put links in there to meet with Norma, the main website, normahollis.com. If you would like to post to the AuthenticityMovement.com, the Authenticity Movement on Facebook, the link is there, as well as joining us on Tuesday for our free conversations, where we talk about authenticity and we go through the dimensions each week. That's at giftfromnorma.com. And thank you, Norma.
And thank you all. Any comments, anyone? Norma, do you want to say something? I see you're unmuted. You're good?
No, I
Okay.
was just trying to download the chat.
Okay, great, yes. If you don't know how to download the chat, Linda, tell them please how to download the chat.
Down on the very bottom towards the left, there are 3 dots. Click on the 3 dots, and on the very top, it'll say Save Chat. So when you shut down, it'll automatically pop up on your screen, and just click it when it pops up on your screen when you close out.
The other thing
Linda, where does it save to, though?
It saves in downloads. It's either in
Okay.
downloads or document in Zoom, in a Zoom folder.
The other option you can do, what I always do with this is I just scroll and copy everything. I go all the way up to chat, because when you download it, it's not easy to read. But if you just scroll and copy the whole thing, and you can paste it to a Word document, and it's easier to read that way. So you have 2 choices. Okay. I look forward to hearing from each of you that are interested in going forward. Those that won the gift, and anyone else that would like to take advantage of the $100 gift certificate. Thank you so much for joining us. I encourage all of you to step into your authenticity just as much as you can. Just one thing at a time, one day at a time, tweak one thing and make it happen. Be very happy.
Being true to myself helps me peel back the layers to reveal my true identity and unfold my authenticity.
I live my life with no regard for the norm. Don't